My name is Tim Davis with Munson Medical Center in the Central Processing Department. And so what our department does is we are a re-cleaning, repackaging, re-sterilizing department for the OR. So we don't function without the operating room, and the operating room doesn't function without us. So there's got to be somebody that is making sure that the OR gets sterile instruments to use whenever they have a patient that goes into surgery. So it kind of starts with the dirty instruments coming down that we've set up to them for their surgical cases. And so those come back down to us, and we have to clean all of the bloody and bone and tissue that is left on the instruments from the surgery. And then after we manually clean them, those go into an automatic washer. And then, hi Bailey, I see that you have just joined us. I just started. And then after we manually clean instrumentation, we have to send them into an automatic washer. And then after that, they come out onto the clean side of the department. And we have to reassemble any of the sets that have been put through. And now what some of the instruments could look like is here, I'll just pick up one, for example. Here is a hammer that they use in the OR. And then here we've got a pair of pliers, some of the generalized stuff that you might see at a local hardware. However, it is made for surgeries. So it is surgical grade steel. And here's like a clamp if they need to clamp something off. So we've got lots of different instruments that they use. And I'll just take the camera and pan down so you can see the entire instrument set, what I'm choosing from. And so all those instruments we have to assemble and put back together in this set. This happens to be a small orthopedic set that I have with me here today. And so with that in mind, this particular set, we have, I think, like 20 of these sets. And so we can do basically 20 procedures with this, using this particular set. So now after we assemble everything and making sure we're checking it for cleanliness, making sure the people back in the decontamination area didn't miss any debris, is what we like to call it here in the department. And so if everything's clean, and we'll package it up and send it over to be wrapped or sterilized. And once it goes into sterilize, it does stay in the sterilizer for about an hour, and it cooks at a temperature of about 275 degrees. So it's super hot. And we ensure, or we have that temperature to ensure that there's literally no bacteria growth at all. So it kills everything that's in there. And then after it comes out of the sterilizer, we have it cool for about a half an hour. And then we basically take it from the cooling area and store it away on the shelf. Every single set that we have has its own location. And so we know right where to go whenever we have a case that comes down. Now, whenever we have a case that comes down to us, we have paperwork that goes along with that particular case. So if it's an emergency or an add-on surgery that is being sent down to us, they'll send us the paperwork, and we'll take a look at the paperwork and see everything that we need to pull off the shelf for that emergency case. So we have kind of like our roadmap. It tells us where to go, what to pull, what instruments to put on that. And then once we get it all pulled, we send it up to the OR, and they can go ahead and set up the OR room and bring the patient back and start on their surgery. So that's, I mean, basically what we do in this department in a nutshell.